Functions of the muscular system. Movement would certainly be one. Keep them coming. Yeah. Well, muscles do contract. They do move. That's true. That is kind of an important fact that I want you to know about muscles, and if you don't have this in your notes already, add it now. Muscles are like this rubber band. The rubber band only has the ability to contract, to pull. It does not have the ability to push, okay? You know, you could pull with this, but you couldn't push. It can go this way, but it can't push. Any more than you could push something by tying a string to it and try to push it with the string. It doesn't work. You can pull, but not push. That's an important fact I want you to have in your notes about muscles. So, yes, they all pull, they all move. The ones that are attached to your skeleton are the ones we're most familiar with. But what about some other muscles? Yes?
They help you move food during digestion.
There you go. Digestion. Not only do they help you get it down into your digestive system, but they help you get rid of it. Yes, get rid of it. They help you eliminate waste. Get rid of it. So we'll talk about the digestive system later. It's one long tube, and it's pushed through. The food is pushed through that tube. It's a big hollow muscle. Okay? What else?
They help.
Yeah, circulation. Now, your heart is certainly a muscle, even though it has its own little system because it's a special kind of muscle. It is a muscle, and so are your blood vessels. All of these hollow tubes, big or small, are muscles. Esophagus, stomach, hollow tube. Intestines, hollow tube. Blood vessels, veins and arteries, hollow tubes. They're all examples of muscles. Anything else? There's 3 more that we have, well actually 4 more. I'll give you some that maybe wouldn't occur to you. Breathing. Your lungs aren't muscles, but they rely on muscles to bring in air and push it out. When you talk, you're using muscles in your mouth, your tongue, to shape the sound, as well as muscles to push out the air. But I still have, let's see, 1, 2, 3 more, well, no, 2 more that we haven't mentioned that I'll give you a star for if you can come up with them. Another function. That's true. It did say that on there. It did say they give your body shape. And kind of going along with that, they protect your body. You know, the only thing between my guts and the outside world is my abdominal muscles. Okay? So, yeah, you need them to shape and protect your body. Yes? Oh, that's true. It did say that in the paper. It's not the one I'm looking for. Come and get it. But hearing was one in there. Yes? You guys are killing me. Yeah, blinking. Well, see, I can't give you a star for blinking because blinking actually falls under which one of these? Movement. This is a totally different thing. I'm sorry? Heart beating? No, that goes with circulation. So we've covered that one. People don't normally think of this last one because it's kind of a side effect, a byproduct, we would say, of muscle contraction. If you grew up in Wisconsin or someplace cold, you know what I was talking about. Yeah, they give you heat. Sorry, I can't give you the start because I gave you the clue on that one. Okay? They give you heat. Oh, he's all bummed out. So when you rub your hands together and you try to exercise to stay warm, that's an important function. Warmth. They warm you. Okay? They give you heat. In fact, you have special muscles that help keep the heat in. On the surface of your skin, you have little erector muscles, they're called. They take your hair and they make it stand up like this. So the hair on your arms and your legs are there to keep you warm, to keep the warm air produced by your body trapped closer to your skin. So the goosebumps do serve a purpose. Okay? So those are all the functions. Now what I'd like you to do is look on the back. Okay? You've got those 3 fiber types. And you could get all the information that goes with those fiber types from the text. But I gave you some strategies yesterday, and one of them was take that information and, bear with me here a second, and try to put it in one place and try to use a picture whenever possible. So if you can add that information to the picture, then when you look at it later on, you're going to get this image stuck in your head. Almost there. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay? Rather than reading up here what kind of muscle this is, and then looking there and looking here, we're going to get it all in one place. Okay? So we have a picture stuck in our head instead of just words. What type of muscle fiber is this? Smooth. So it says it right up there, but I'm going to write smooth right above it. Okay? And if you wanted to color this in blue or whatever, because I'm using a blue pen, that's fine. Those things do help. Helps you to visualize this. All right? You know I'm going to show pictures like this on your quiz tomorrow. These are little microscopic views of what the fibers would look like. They physically look different. What kind of fibers are these? It's pronounced striated. Striated. Okay, striated means it has bands or lines. Striations are just little lines. And that's why scientists named it that, because it looked like it had stripes or lines on it. It looks kind of like this, but with some stripes on it. So the tissue actually looks different. The final one is only found one place. Where? The heart. Oh, you know, I broke my own rule. I'm gonna color code that. I'm gonna make that red. And this last one is called cardiac. And it's only found in the heart. And we'll talk about that here in just a second as well. Okay? Now, each of these fibers are either the type that we have under our brain's control or they operate automatically. What is the word for automatic? Involuntary. Which of these are involuntary? And? Everybody? Okay, we didn't get the pronunciation. Let's try this again. Striated. Yes, cardiac and striated. So these are what we call oh, I'm sorry. My fault. I misspoke. You guys were right. That's why I didn't hear you say it. Smooth are involuntary. That's an involuntary muscle. And this is involuntary. Which means you don't have conscious control over those muscles. These muscles do their thing automatically without your brain operating. Okay? Give me an example of some smooth muscles. Where might we find these? In your intestines. Okay, what else? Inner wall of your stomach. Where else? In your blood vessels. All of these are examples of hollow organs, hollow tissues. There's a hole in the middle. Esophagus, a hole in the middle. Stomach, a hole in the middle. Intestines, a hole in the middle. Veins and arteries have a hole in the middle. You know I'm going to ask you to do all three of these things tomorrow. Tell me if it's smooth or striated or cardiac. Give me an example. And tell me if it's voluntary or involuntary. So you don't have to think to make the food go through your digestive system. It does it automatically. Striated. Voluntary or involuntary? Voluntary. So I'm going to write that below. And an example would be? Yeah, specifically biceps, triceps. Any of those muscles, big or small, that attach to your skeleton. You know, the muscles that are used to blink your eyes. Muscles that are used to talk. They're all attached to bones at some point, and they are striated. Sometimes they call these skeletal because they attach to your skeleton. And we already did the cardiac tissue. We know that that's involuntary. Even though you can influence your heart rate, you don't have direct control. You can't just sit there and decide, I'm going to stop moving my heart. That's a good thing, right? It's good that you don't have to think to make your heart work. Now you can have caffeine or chemicals that will affect your heart rate. Nervousness will affect your heart rate, but you don't have direct control over it. These guys are cool. Cardiac fibers look like a combination of these two. They've got some lines, but they've got some smoothness to them as well. But they behave like nothing else. They're only found in the heart, and what makes them so interesting is they have this one task. I'm just going to keep beating on a regular pattern, on a regular basis, okay? So if you take that little fiber or a little cell and you put it in a tray with some nutrients so it doesn't die, it'll just keep doing this. It'll just keep beating by itself. You put another one in that tray and it will beat as well. You bring the two together until they touch, and guess what happens? They start beating together. They have it programmed in to keep, they've got it programmed in to keep beating as one, to work as a unit together. Okay? All right. Now, I want to tell you a little story that has to do with the fibers. It has to do with these fibers in particular. There's actually more than one kind of striated fiber. To give you some background on this, go back about 30 or 40 years. Imagine it's the Olympics. America's getting their butts kicked by what country that really doesn't even exist today, by that name? What? Which one? Soviet Union. Okay? Soviet Union would beat us badly in some of the Olympic events. And our athletes and our experts, our scientists here, they were really puzzled. Why is this? Why do we keep getting beaten so badly by the Soviets? And we found out that they deal with their athletes differently there. Here, you decide when you're 11, 12, 13, what kinds of athletics you want to get involved in, and then you go train, and then you try out for the Olympics. There, you weren't given as much of a choice. If your mom or dad was a long-distance runner, there's a good chance that you were probably going to be a long-distance runner. You were asked to do that. So let's say Marissa was a long-distance runner. Okay? Now she's 40 years old and she has a little girl. And she gets a call from the scientists that are involved in the Olympics. They say, we need you to bring your daughter down right away. So you're a good citizen. You follow their directions. You bring your daughter down, take her to the doctor, and they put her up on the table. They get out a big fat needle and they stick it in her leg. Pull that needle out, and it's stuck inside the hole of the needle is going to be some of her muscle fibers. They look at it underneath a microscope, and it's going to look like this. But they look more closely. Not all striated muscle fibers look exactly like that. They actually come in two versions, two flavors, if you will. Okay? There's what we call fast twitch and slow twitch fibers. And I want you to write a little bit about those so you understand the difference. Okay? Fast twitch. Slow twitch. We all have both kinds. Okay? It's not like an either or. But some of us have more of one kind than another. You've seen both kinds of muscle fibers when you eat chicken. We call it what? White meat and dark meat, right? They physically look different. The fibers themselves are different. And here's the reason why. The dark meat fibers, they get more blood going to them, giving them a darker color. The white meat get less blood, and they have a lighter color. And what we know about the fast and slow twitch fibers is the slow twitch, they may respond more slowly, but they can do it for a longer period of time. The fast twitch, they're going to give you that quick firing. They're going to respond very quickly, but they get tired quickly as well. You starting to see where this is going? Okay? So the fast twitch fibers, if your daughter had a lot of fast twitch, let's say she had 80% of her muscle fibers were fast twitch. What event did I say you did? Long distance runner. Now your daughter has 80% fast twitch, which is good for quick. Running my letters together. Quick bursts of energy. Okay, quick motion, but it doesn't last for a long time. Is she going to be good in long distance running? No. In fact, she looks like she has the makeup to be a good, maybe, javelin thrower. Okay? Javelin doesn't require endurance. Tell me this, football, linemen, do they need to have a lot of fast twitch or slow twitch fibers?
Fast twitch.
Fast twitch, you're right, Matt. They have to have that quick burst, but then they get to go rest, right? Between every play. You go back, you huddle, you get a chance to rest. Okay, give me an example of an event where you need a lot of slow twitch fibers. We already said long distance runner. What else?
Like water polo.
Yeah, oh, yeah. That's probably one of the toughest ones because you're constantly swimming. You've got to have a lot of slow twitch fibers. Yes?
Synchronized swimming.
Synchronized swimming. Anytime where you're having to exert and use that same muscle. You need more? You okay? Okay. You exert that same muscle for, more than 30 seconds. Now you're getting into the realm of slow twitch. Okay? The slow twitch are the endurance fibers. And again, remember, these have more blood supply, so they can flush out all the bad stuff and work for a longer period of time. So the Soviets figured this out. They tested their athletes, and they would know, you're going to be good at this type of activity, not at this one. And they would put their people in the right activity. Plus, they started training their kids super young. So your daughter then would be training when she's 5 or 6. Barely walking, and she's already programmed, this is what I'm going to do. Just in case you were wondering about the chicken, let's go back to the chicken. Light meat, dark meat. Think about the kind of meat that you find here on the chicken. The breast, the chicken breast is light meat. That's used to flap the wings, okay? You see chickens flying overhead all the time? They don't spend a lot of time in the air, do they? You chase the chicken, they flap a little bit, and they land again, right? Okay? That's using fast or slow twitch. Fast twitch. But their little drumsticks, little legs they're walking on all day long, they need endurance. So those are slow twitch and have darker meat. Does that make sense? Okay. By the way, if you had a difficult time keeping up with notes today, let me know at the end of the period and I can help you out a little bit. Okay? All right, so we've talked about the 3 types of muscle fibers. Now let's look at muscle from a bigger point of view. Let's look at a big hunk of muscle and some names that go with it. We have a couple of bones that come together. And then we have a muscle. And the muscle always has a fat part in the middle and then a thinner part at the ends. What is this thinner part called? You should have read about this already.
A
Tendon. Okay? The big fat part in the middle is called the belly of the muscle or the head. The belly or the head. Thank goodness we have tendons. If it wasn't for tendons, we'd all have cankles. Anyone know what cankles are? Matt?
Fat legs.
Big fat legs. Well, specifically, where the calf is wider and the ankle is supposed to be smaller, it's where the ankle doesn't get smaller. The calf goes straight down. Elephant legs. You get my meaning? Okay? Well, if we didn't have tendons, tendons are the part where it gets more narrow and it attaches the muscle to the bone. You've seen tendons. You've probably eaten some tendons. When you tear chicken off the bone, which I have a hard time doing because it grosses me out. I like my meat all nicely cut up and prepared for me. Okay, I love Chinese food for that reason. It's already cut up and prepared. But anyway, that tendon, when you tear it off the bone, that's the stuff that's more whitish, almost see-through in color. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's tougher. It won't pull. It's not the moving part. This is where the movement takes place. That's where the muscle shortens, right in here. And it is just like I'm showing here. It's fingers doing this. That's how the muscle fibers shorten. Okay? The tendon doesn't do that. If it wasn't for tendons, your fingers would be incredibly thick, because the muscle that controls this finger is located where? No, back here. Do that. Do you see those lines? If you stretch your hand backward like this, do you see the lines on the back of your hand? Okay, those are tendons. Those thick ropey things are tendons. You can see them move as you move your fingers, right? The other end, one end goes to your finger, to each finger, so you can move them, you can straighten them out. The other end goes to the muscle. The muscle is all located here in your forearm. If that muscle were about this big around and it went all the way out, that thick, to the end of your finger, do you see the problem? We'd all be big, thick, puffy marshmallow men and women. We wouldn't be able to bend our fingers, move around well at all, okay? But because we have tendons, it makes it smaller. Now, muscles always work in pairs. We have one on this side and another one on this side, hooked up in pretty much the same arrangement. Okay? Now, in this particular arrangement, I'm showing my arm here. My arm's going to do this. Get it? So when I bend my arm this way, it's called flexing or flexion. To bend it this way, flex. Okay? Going the other way to straighten it out is called extension, or to extend is going this way. So in this particular case, what is the name of this muscle right here? Matt? Do you know the name of this one? What is it? Triceps. So which one is the flexor? Biceps. The biceps muscle is the flexor. The triceps muscle is the extensor, or the extender, if you will. Got it? Okay. A few more things on this, and then we'll get to naming those muscles. This, I will tell you up front, is not going to be on the test, although it might be in some game somewhere down the line. But I just throw it out there for your own interest. They actually have names for the different ends of the muscle, where it connects to bone. This end here is called the origin. The end that you're actually trying to move with that muscle, okay, I'm trying to move this bone, that is called the insertion. Now, I'm going to erase that. I'm going to write that down here. Okay? So the origin is the top part, the part usually closest to the middle of the body, the part of the bone that doesn't really move. The other part that is being moved, that's the insertion. And usually, when people overexert their muscles, it's this end that gets damaged. They damage the tendon, or they can even rupture it. You want to share your story?
I tore mine last year. I don't know if you remember that I was out of the library for a while, but I ripped my tendon on my shoulder.
So that was at the origin then?
Uh-huh.
At
And
this
right
end?
now, and they didn't sew it back, so I only have it attached at one point. So I try not to carry it.
And it is possible to totally rupture the entire tendon that holds the muscle in place. And I've seen pictures of people who had the tendon that goes from their calf to their heel. You know what that one's called? Achilles tendon. If you feel on the back of your heel right now, that's the thickest, ropiest, toughest tendon you've got on your body. Okay, that you could feel easily. That's your Achilles tendon. That is a big, thick tendon. Can you imagine what would be required to tear through that? And when you do, instead of the muscle being all stretched out, looking nice, long, and lean, it goes just like pulling a window shade up. And the muscle just goes whoop, and it looks really weird. Your leg looks really skinny at the bottom, and you got this big ball right here. Okay? And it goes without saying that you can't run when that has been ruptured. Historically, there's a little story I'll share with you. You've probably seen where they take prisoners out and they let them do work outside. Okay? And nowadays they have guards that stand there. They can put electronic devices on you in case you decide to run away. But in the old days, they would put, you know, a ball, you know, that ball and chain. You guys have seen those, big heavy ball with a chain and a bracelet that would go around your ankle. That was one method. But there was another method that was much more cruel. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
But they like break their tendon?
Yeah. Either totally rupture or partially rupture that tendon. And it was a practice called hobbling. Okay, imagine I get out my Bowie knife, I cut through your Achilles tendon. Okay, you can walk uncomfortably, but you can't push off. Therefore, you can't run. So it's going to be really hard for you to get away from me. Hobbling. H-O-B-B-L-I-N-G. That's what it was called, hobbling. Little history lesson there. Okay. All right. Just a couple more things, then we'll get to the names. I hope you have in your notes that important nutrient you have to have for muscle growth. Protein. You've got to eat meat to make meat, or you've got to eat something that has protein in it, like rice and beans. The other thing I'd like you to know is, you know, most of us are interested in building muscle. It's good to do that. It's good to lift weights and exercise. But with our fast food attitude here in this country, we think that by working harder, we're automatically going to get better results. That if I lift 20 pounds every day, and then you lift 40 pounds, you're going to be stronger than me. Not necessarily. Because we have this expression we use that goes something like this. No pain, no gain. Heard that one? What it should be is no strain, no gain. Those muscle fibers you looked at there, what we want to do is we want to stress them out. Okay? I'm stressing you out a little bit right now. And I'm going to stress you out even more tonight and tomorrow when you take your quiz. If I didn't stress you, you wouldn't grow. If every day you went to school and class was just easy for you, I'm not really helping you to grow. It should be a little uncomfortable. It should be a little stressful. Too much, and you freak out. Oh my gosh, I can't remember 19 muscles. Not enough, and you don't grow. So when you go to lift weights, if you try to lift 400 pounds, you're going to have what happened to Mrs. Tarowski. You're going to tear a tendon, you're going to rupture muscles, you're going to cause severe damage. All right? You shouldn't have tried to bench press 400 pounds. I told you that. So the muscles will tear. And then when they build back up, they're not better than they were. They're weaker than they were. Instead, you work less, the right amount that stresses it, so you're a little sore the next day, but not so bad that you never want to go back, or that you can't lift weights because you're hurt so bad. You see what I'm saying? A little bit of stress says to the body, hey, you better make this stronger so next time it doesn't hurt as much. Okay? It makes it bigger and better than it was before. Can I have your attention up here, please? Thank you. All right. So now turn to the front side because we're going to start to fill in the names. By the way, if you want to know a fancy word, it's not going to be on the test. But when you build muscle, this is what it's called. Hypertrophy. Okay? That's the building of muscle, is hypertrophy. And the way I always remember that is the person with the big muscles wins the trophy, and he's really hyper, and he runs around a lot. The hypertrophy, I don't know. Whatever works for you. Hypertrophy is building muscle, or building anything, making it grow. All right. Now, these are going to be probably a little small. I'll try to zoom in at points for you guys so you can see the spelling. And I'll spell them out. And I would recommend that you could write it in, say, blue, and then color it in that same color. Your brain likes color. Remember that you need to know the spelling tomorrow as well. There are 19 of these. Some of them you already know. You might know this first one. What is that first one?
Which one? This one?
The very top one. Yeah, it's right here, and it goes along your back, right down here. Nathan? Your traps, that's the short version. Anyone know the whole name? Trapezius. T-R-A-P-E-Z-I-U-S. I'll spell that for you again. T-R-A-P-E-Z-I-U-S. See, I would be kicked out of kindergarten because I can't color within the lines. Bad. T-R-A-P-E-Z-I-U-S. Okay? Now, the way I remember that one, I remember these things and I learned them, I don't know, 15 or so years ago. The reason I remember them still today is because my teacher, when he taught them, he told me little stories, little tricks to remember each of them by. And that's why I'm doing it this way instead of just handing you all the names. I remembered that that muscle shrugs your shoulders, pulls your shoulders down, and you would use it a great deal if you're in the circus swinging from the trapeze. Okay? The next one down is shaped like a triangle. Does anyone know what the triangle is in the Greek alphabet? What's it called? What's that letter called? It's used on a lot of fraternities and sororities. It's shaped like a triangle, and the triangle means delta. This is your deltoid. D-E-L-T-O-I-D. Again, that's D-E-L-T-O-I-D. This is your deltoid. Delta is a triangle. That's a letter in the Greek alphabet. And this muscle is kind of shaped like a triangle. That's how it got its name. Deltoid. Going down from there. I know you know the name of those. Pectorals. Yeah, pectoralis major to be specific. Yes, you do. We're in the big leagues now. We don't use baby names. We don't say chest muscles, leg muscles. We say the real technical name. Remember, there are 700. I'm only asking you to know 19. Some of these you already know. Pectoralis major. P-E-C-T-O-R-A-L-I-S. Second word major. P-E-C-T-O-R-A-L-I-S. If there is a pectoralis major, there must be? There is. And it is responsible for helping you with breathing. Pectoralis major attaches to your chest bone, right here, and out to your arm. And it pulls your arms in this way. So when you're doing a bench press, pectoralis major is one of the major ones worked. All right, going down from there. Matt, I know you know that one. That's right, biceps. B-I-C-E-P-S. I'm being nice because it's really biceps brachii, but I don't require you to know that. Biceps. Why biceps? B-I. What does that mean? Two. And again, Mrs. Tarowski injured hers, and only one of the attachment points was damaged. The other one was intact. Is that right? Okay. And this muscle is actually two held together in a sheath. So that's why it has the name of biceps. Two heads, two bellies, two of the big part, the center part, working parts of the muscle. You've seen this when you take chicken apart and you separate it. You can see little clumps that stick together. That's what we're talking about. On the back of the arm, you've got three, so that would be your triceps. Oops. Ah, don't do that. Go back. Oh, man. There we are. Triceps. And there really are three parts. If you don't work your triceps much, you probably have a hard time identifying those three parts. Yes, I know that looks like the Scream mask. Okay, guy from Scream. I have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? Okay, never mind. Yeah. Anyway, this is the arm muscle that is often not worked, particularly on you ladies. So you, when you get about, 45, 50, 60, maybe you're someone's grandma, and the grandkids are leaving. This isn't you, man. You're buff. Some women. And they go to wave goodbye, and this part waves goodbye, and this part waves goodbye too. The little floppy thing in the breeze. Okay. Let me tell you, I have a theory about this. Why the biceps is usually much stronger than the triceps. Because the biceps brings things to you. Give me food, give me food. The triceps say, no, I'm full, thank you. Get it? Maybe if we weren't so selfish and we were pushing things away more, we'd have stronger triceps. But it's important that the muscles that are on opposite sides, that they're equally strong, or you might have an injury, particularly if you're in sports. Ladies and guys, if you're playing softball, baseball, and you're throwing the ball, shooting hoops and basketball, the triceps, that's your main one. That's used in that motion to extend the arm. Work it. This exercise right here. Okay? Kickbacks like this. Work the triceps. Next, external obliques. That is these muscles right here on either side. Okay? Everyone thinks that's referring to the abs. No, the abs are here in the center. These are kind of like your abs. They may fall into the big group of abdominal muscles because they're in that area. But these let you do those side crunches. Okay? Go into the side. They're called external obliques because of the angle they're going at, an oblique angle. And external, if there's an external oblique, there must be an internal oblique, and there is. The internals go the other way. You don't have to know them, but I bet you will remember. Okay, next one. Bet you know the name. Abdominal area. Do we even see where that's pointing? That's pointing to the back, guys. The next one down is pointing to this big, broad muscle across the back. Okay? You guys commonly call them your, not latissimus dorsi, but lats. That's this whole area here. Yeah, I call them my back. The latissimus dorsi. If you're a swimmer, you're going to use that muscle. Every time you pull your shoulder back. If you're a rower and you pull back, that's the latissimus dorsi. It is spelled L-A-T-I-S-S-I-M-U-S. Dorsi. D-O-R-S-I. Okay, I realize I didn't spell the last few for you, so let me back up. External obliques. Hopefully you can spell external. Obliques is O-B-L-I-Q-U-E-S. And triceps is just like it sounds. T-R-I-C-E-P-S. Okay? Latissimus dorsi. One little clue I use for that particular muscle, because if you're just used to calling it your lats, you might forget this last part. Where else have you seen a word like that? Dorsi. In the back? Dorsal fin. On a dolphin, that would be on their back. Okay? Dorsal refers to the back of an animal, and you'll learn that when you get to the frogs. Okay? Down the middle, running straight up and down, often separated by 6 separate little pieces, all connected by tendon. Abs, you guys call them the abs, that's the short version. Yeah, abdominals. But we need the scientific one. Rectus abdominis. R-E-C-T-U-S. Abdominis. A-B-D-O-M-I-N-U-S. Yes.
Isn't the rectus something else?
There's rectus a lot of things. Rectus is one of those prefixes. Rectus means up and down, vertically. Okay? You use it in a word like, let's erect a building. Build it straight up and down. An erector set is building vertically. Okay? So rectus means up and down. Every time you have something with rectus at the beginning, it's going to go this way. Okay? So this has 6 separate bellies or heads to that muscle. It gives it its definition, particularly if you work it out. The next one I know everyone knows. What is it?
Gluteus maximus.
Gluteus maximus. And that's just as hard as any of the other words. It's just easier for you because you've heard it for a while. G-L-U-T-E-U-S. Maximus. M-A-X-I-M-U-S. So what color should we make his butt?
Brown.
Red. I don't have brown. Actually, I do, but I'm not going to do it. Just out of principle. Okay? So, there's the gluteus maximus. If there's a gluteus maximus, there must be a...
Gluteus minimus.
And there's a gluteus medius as well. You get your shot in that. Gluteus maximus, well, big, maximus, big butt. Okay, I remember that. Gluteus, glue. Looks like the butt cheeks have been glued together. Whatever helps you to remember it, guys. Just don't spell it G-L-U-E. That's not how you spell gluteus, okay? I'm going to show you the next 4 all together. This is where you're going to flip out on me because these seem really difficult. We have rectus femoris, and I'll spell them out, vastus lateralis, vastus intermedius, and vastus medialis. These are the muscles that together, all 4 of them, you call your quads or quadriceps. That's a common name. Those are the scientific names. Rectus femoris, R-E-C-T-U-S. Femoris, F-E-M-O-R-I-S. And that's going to be this one here, going straight up and down in the middle of your thigh. Rectus, rectus, straight up and down. Femoris, named after, what's this bone called? Femur. So they name it after the bone it goes by. The next 3 all begin with the word vastus. V-A-S-T-U-S. Vastus because they are vast, big. Okay, that makes it easy to remember. And the first one is the vastus lateralis. L-A-T-E-R-A-L-I-S. Vastus lateralis. Lateralis because it's on the lateral, the outside here. The outer edge. It's most lateral. Vastus intermedius, V-A-S-T-U-S. Second part is I-N-T-E-R-M-E-D-I-U-S. Intermedius is kind of tucked away in there, and part of it sticks out when you really flex your muscle, but you don't always see all of it. It gets kind of hidden by some of these other muscles. So that's the intermedius. And finally, the last one there is the medialis. V-A-S-T-U-S. Medialis is in here. It's the one closest to the middle. Remember how I taught you these words? Medial and lateral? That's why. V-A-S-T-U-S. M-E-D-I-A-L-I-S. Okay, I got to kind of pick up the pace so I give you all these before the bell rings. The next 3 that are located on the back of your thigh we call our hamstrings, okay? You tie up a ham with these little thin strings, and these are kind of stringy muscles and thin, and they are the semitendinosus, S-E-M-I-T-E-N-D-I-N-O-S-U-S. Kind of, sort of like a, what word is tucked away in there? Tendon. Kind of, sort of like a tendon, long and stringy. Yeah, someone said dino-sus. I like that. If that helps you to remember the spelling, you've got 10 dinosaurs, sus. I don't know. 10 dinos and us. There's 10 dinos out there and us. T-E-N-D-I-N-O-S, and then the S part. The next one is semimembranosus. S-E-M-I-M-E-M-B-R-A-N-O-S-U-S. Again, notice the spelling. These end in U-S. Some of the ones up above end in I-S or I-U-S. That's the trickiest part of this whole thing. Don't freak out tomorrow if you bomb this quiz. Try to do your absolute best, because if you learn this stuff, it'll get much easier as we move on. But this is going to be a real test. It's very difficult to learn 19 things in one day. Biceps femoris. B-I-C-E-P-S. Femoris. F-E-M-O-R-I-S. Okay, the next 3, your calf muscle is your gastrocnemius. G-A-S-T-R-O-C-N-E-M-I-U-S. Named after some Greek dude. Okay? Don't forget the C in there. Gastrocnemius. Tibialis anterior is the next one. Right here on the front of your tibia, your shin bone. Anterior means front. T-I-B-I-A-L-I-S. Anterior is A-N-T-E-R-I-O-R. That means on the front of. The final one is actually 2 muscles on either side of your calf. They come down and help you with pointing and flexing your toe, and that's the soleus. S-O-L-E-U-S. It connects to your soul on all of us. Get it? Soul, us.